Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the Honourable Jon Huntsman, Chairman of the Atlantic Council.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a great honor it is to be here tonight with you. And I want to thank you so very much for your welcome and your presence and willingness to be here tonight. Thank you. Thank you, one and all. But I have to tell you this, I can't stand here tonight before this extraordinary group for the first time as Atlantic Council Chairman without saluting all of those who have preceded me in the past half-century. Now, I know I probably take down the average age of the Board of Directors, maybe slightly, but I want you to know that I have high expectations to live up to beyond that. I want to thank in particular the three immediate past chairmen, all present here, who have done so much in the service of their country and service to the Atlantic Council through a period of historic growth in size and influence and quality of this work. There could be no Atlantic Council as we know and celebrate it tonight without General Brent Scowcroft. Thank you. Brent provided both the vision and leadership for the renewal of the Atlantic Council mission after the Cold War. He's the only man to have served twice as National Security Advisor, and he's the only person to have served twice as Atlantic Council Chairman. And I will work hard, Brent, to make sure you don't have to serve a third time. Certainly at the Atlantic Council, National Security Council, all bets are off. General Jim Jones, a former National Security Advisor as well, and also former Supreme Allied Commander, presided over a critical period at the Council during which he advocated both the deepening of the Council's NATO work and the expansion of its global mission, creating its Africa Center and laying the groundwork for its Rafik Hariri Center for the Middle East, which we are duly proud of. After General Jones joined, we'll have a moment to applaud all in a moment. After General Jones joined the Obama White House, Chuck Hagel, then a former senator and now Secretary of Defense, presided over one of the most successful periods in the Council's long history. And we honor him here tonight, however, not for that, but for a lifetime of accomplishments. So having three such impressive leaders seated in one room really provided me a unique opportunity to recognize what they've done to build the Atlantic Council over the past 7 years. So join me, please, in giving a real round of applause to General Scowcroft, General Jones, and Secretary Hagel. Thank you. As we gather here tonight, the critical importance of the Atlantic Council's 21st century mission could not be clearer. Whichever challenge to our planet of 7 billion we may consider, whether it's human or economic development, whether it is the security of our energy, our food, of cyberspace, or of nations, the building of solutions still rests heavily on that same strong foundation, that transatlantic community of purpose that has been the Atlantic Council's central focus since its creation 53 years ago. In the 2 decades since our world was unburdened of the Cold War, we have made unprecedented progress in building an essential core of this foundation, a Europe that is democratic, whole, free, and at peace. The European Union and NATO are the manifestation of this vision, and tonight serves as a special tribute to both of these great institutions as we commemorate the anniversaries of their historic enlargements. The progress toward this Europe has been so striking, so celebrated, even among people who once saw each other as foes, that perhaps we lost sight of just how difficult this task might be going forward. Well, we can see it tonight, as we have seen for months, the obstacles and the stunning courage of the people confronting them. We have seen it in peaceful demonstrations for democracy through a bitter Ukrainian winter, in Kiev's Maidan. We have seen it in the aggression of a government whose enforcers killed scores of these patriots over their demands for this Europe of our visions. We have seen it in the brutish annexation of Crimea and in the dignity of Crimean Russians, Ukrainians, and Tatars who still seek justice and democracy amid what promises to be a long, hard struggle for their futures. And we see it in the violence and subterfuge of Russian agents and their proxies destabilizing Ukraine even as we speak. The Atlantic Council is engaged fully in this latest struggle for a Europe whole and free, and tonight we will engage emotionally both with it and with other parts of our mission as we celebrate 5 remarkable members of our wider community and the work that they have done. Tonight we call them our special honorees. So let me end my remarks as I began them, with deep gratitude. This time for the leader and the doer who has been the closest partner both of myself and of my predecessors. Please join me in expressing gratitude to Fred Kempe, former Wall Street Journal correspondent and editor, book author, fellow Utahn, which I promise is no conspiracy behind it at all, and most importantly, President and CEO of the Atlantic Council. We thank him for the work he does to advance our mission and bring together this remarkable community that has grown in a most unprecedented fashion in recent years. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming Fred Kempe.
Thank you all for making it through the weather and the traffic. Thank you, Governor Huntsman. What a distinct pleasure and honor it is to build the Atlantic Council with you, Governor Huntsman. What unifies all the remarkable chairmen with whom I've worked over the past 7 years, Henry Caddo, Jim Jones, Brent Scowcroft, Chuck Hagel, Jon Huntsman, is enormous personal modesty, selfless public service, a recognition that America's interests are best served through bipartisan efforts, and strong and consistent and reliable partnerships. Mr. Chairman, you are so right when you say publicly that we have greater capabilities at the Atlantic Council than perhaps at any time in our half-century history. But we're going to need all of those capabilities for the dangers and the challenges we face. One day, I would wager that each of you in the audience might look back at this evening and remember that we came together at one of those great inflection points in history with an extraordinary group of leaders that could make a difference. You will recall, I hope, that you heard at the Atlantic Council Awards dinner that the year 2014 could prove as decisive an inflection point as 1919, 1945, and 1989, the end of World War I, World War II, and the Cold War, when the actions of American leaders shaped the global system or failed to do so. If we are lucky, we will be able to say to future generations that we rose in common cause to face a new set of global challenges. What galvanizes and supports the Atlantic Council is a compelling mission that in past weeks has turned more urgent, and the fact that you all love talking to each other also galvanizes this community. And I'm sure at each and every table people are discussing how they can shape history. So we must reinvigorate the Atlantic community alongside its like-minded global allies and friends to shape the future. If we do not stand up at this time, you can be certain that less benevolent forces or disorder will fill the vacuum. Witness Ukraine. Witness Syria. Witness the Sahel. So it's in that context we will honor individuals who represent the four pillars of the Atlantic community: the political, business, military, and artistic leaders. Tonight, we will honor two of our community's most impressive public servants, EU Commission President Jose Manuel Barroso and Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel. We will honor the sort of principled and visionary business leadership that stands behind our economic and defense strength, Airbus Group CEO Tom Enders. We will honor military leadership of an extraordinary kind by saluting General Joe Dunford on behalf of the 48 countries. The 51,176 soldiers serving today in Afghanistan and the hundreds of thousands of soldiers who have served among coalition forces in Afghanistan over the past decade. General Dunford will come to us from Afghanistan, but Major Sergeant Joe Booker will accept the award with some colleagues of his. And we also are glad to have the Supreme Allied Commander Europe, General Breedlove, with us, and the Marine Commandant, member of the Joint Chiefs, General James Amos. Welcome to all of you. Finally, we will honor the amazing Ruslana, the award-winning singer and tireless Maidan Square activist who has applied her energy and her vision to one of Ukraine's and Europe's key historic moments. Thank you, Ruslana. In Brussels last month, President Obama called the Ukraine crisis a moment of testing for Europe and the United States and for the international order we have worked for generations to build. We also see it as a testing moment for the Atlantic Council and for the global community all of you represent. This is the Atlantic Council's moment. This is your moment as the community that supports us. We can shape history, or we certainly will pay the price if we fail to do so. Tonight is a celebration, but it also must be a rallying point. The Atlantic Council has been at the forefront of helping our community understand the crisis, recognize the stakes, and forge an effective strategy. Over the last 2 days at a conference of the Atlantic Council, Europe Whole and Free, we hosted Vice President Biden, Secretary Kerry, President Barroso, and 11 European defense and foreign ministers, many of them who are here tonight. And we thank Vice President Biden for announcing at the Atlantic Council today President Obama's trip in early June to Warsaw to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Polish democracy. In the last weeks, we've hosted the prime ministers of Ukraine, of Georgia, of Montenegro, and Moldova. Through a drumbeat of publications, media appearance, congressional testimony, and behind-the-scenes work, the Atlantic Council is helping to advance allied coherence and cohesiveness. But this just scratches the surface of what we've accomplished. So I hope you'll bear with me as I just list with one sentence the work we're doing globally beyond Ukraine across our 10 programs and centers. First of all, our Rafik Hariri Center for the Middle East has provided cutting-edge, penetrating work on Syria. Thank you, Baha Hariri. Thank you for everything you do and everything you stand for. Our brand new Adrian Arsht Center has, in its first year of operation, established itself as a courageous, vibrant, innovative voice for a rapidly changing Latin America. Thank you, Adrian Arsht. Our Dinu Patriciu Eurasia Center has made our annual Istanbul Energy and Economic Summit this year in November, please all come, a must-do. And it's taken the lead in our Ukraine work. Thank you to George Lund, George Trapivsky, and a host of others who are making that work possible. Our South Asia's Iran Task Force and its work aimed at waging peace between Pakistan and India have made it a go-to place for policymakers from a number of countries. Our Africa Center has been at the forefront of identifying impossible solutions across a continent rich with underappreciated opportunity and unrecognized dangers. And then among our functional centers, the Brent Scowcroft Center on International Security is a global leader on cyber statecraft, NATO's future, and strategic foresight. Thank you, General Scowcroft. Our Global Business and Economics program is at the forefront of advancing the transatlantic trade and investment partnership, which we heard over the last 2 days is one of the most strategic and most important goals of the community. Thank you, Tsvetan Vasilev. Our Young Atlanticist program is grooming a new generation leaders, and we introduced yesterday 15 emerging transatlantic leaders who are advising Secretary General Rasmus on the next summit. We're doing energy work across the Council, wrestling with the geopolitical changes in the energy field. And then finally, the Transatlantic Relations Program hosts the Wrocław Global Forum in Poland in the beginning of June that will build on the conference of the last 2 days, and our Freedom Awards. Thank you, Maciej Watucki, for your support of the Wrocław Global Forum and the Freedom Awards. Many of you have worked with our teams. You know how good our staff is. I ask you to applaud as I ask all members of the Atlantic Council staff and senior fellows to rise and join me in thanking them for their brilliant work. Thank you, everybody. I'm so proud of you. And none of their work would be possible without the International Advisory Board, our board, and our members. Enormous thanks also to each and one of you. You make my job so much easier. Thank you. Now it is my honor to pass the podium back to our new chairman, Governor Jon Huntsman, who will introduce our first awardee of the evening, President Barroso. Governor Huntsman.